Okay, we're going to try this a second time. Hi, I'm Rick Brandon. This is my wife, Charlene. And we're going to start producing videos to document our journey as we grow this itty bitty homestead. The goal is to document as we go along. We are learning how to homestead. Um, and we, you know, we wanted to start documenting our experience so that other people who watch might be inspired, might learn something, or people who have more experience might see where we're making a mistake and could give us some pointers to steer us on the right path.
Why is this any different from any other homesteading channels you've seen out there?
Probably isn't anything any different than other than the fact that we're doing it on a half acre of land. We're not a big operation. We're not going to be a big operation.
Exactly.
The idea is to produce enough, still in my drink, to start off
Thirsty.
producing just enough, hopefully, to provide for ourselves. Then gradually increase to where we can help other people, like neighbors around the area,
Friends,
family, and maybe eventually have enough stuff that we can sell some for a tiny profit that we can reinvest into the house, into the garden, and might actually give me some sort of an exit strategy so that I can actually one day retire from my job and not have to be working, 40 hours a week, slogging away, working with people that I can barely tolerate.
Knuckle dragging cavemen.
No, I wouldn't even give him that much. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road. When we decided to start doing these videos, we wanted to put out a post. So we posted on No Agenda Social, asking people to, submit questions. Well, some of you did.
Let me start off with some of mine first.
Absolutely. Ladies first. You're the lady.
News to me. First question, right off the bat. What is homesteading? The definition of it, according to the dictionary, is a lifestyle of self-sufficiency and is characterized by subsistent agriculture, home preservation of foods, and may include small-scale production of textiles, clothing, and craft work for household use and sale. Dumb it down to 2 words, self-sufficiency. We are trying to break the chains of reliance on big box stores, on foreign powers, China, for stuff, and standing up on our own 2 feet.
And teaching our daughters to do the same.
Exactly.
And my grandchildren.
When did we start?
Well, it started really when we were living in town. And we wanted to try and supplement what we were getting by growing our own food. So, in a foolish notion, I started acquiring used tires. Filled them with dirt, planted crops, and waited.
Didn't bother painting them or treating them in any way, shape, or form.
And we learned the hard way. Unpainted tires will draw in the heat. They will cook your dirt and kill the roots of your crops.
Mm-hmm. And kill the dirt in it, so it's no longer usable except for filling holes.
So that went away. Well, not quite 2 years ago, we had a sudden, very intense
disagreement with neighbors.
Disagreement with society in general. and decided we were going to move. Well, we found this house, which suit our purposes fantastically, just enough outside of city limits where we weren't having to deal with 3 a.m. screeching meth addicts walking up and down the street yelling at themselves. And we didn't have to worry about possible break-ins or anything like that. But we're close enough to town where it doesn't take me forever and a day to drive to work. So we're in an unincorporated region that doesn't have to worry about city regs so much. So we can pretty much do what we want with our property so long as we're not
breaking federal law.
Yeah, we're not breaking any laws, until they make it a federal case about growing your own food. But until that day,
exactly,
in a pig's eye. Our first summer out here, which was last summer, we made a small plot. We planted tomatoes, jalapenos,
and did pretty well.
And we had so many good little cherry tomatoes that we were in there. And I grew some pretty hot jalapenos, and I liked them. And I've still got a bunch of them stored up. They gave us the bug to go bigger. And so we produced some grow boxes this year, filled them with dirt, and we've started growing our own crops. We've also started raising chickens. We have 6 total right now. 2 Leghorn, 2 Golden Comet, and 2 Australorp. The 2 Australorp are making a small little bit of racket right now because they're still indoors. We haven't put them out yet. They're not big enough to be out with the other 4 chickens. And one of our kittens is trying to investigate them. Anyway.
What really sealed the deal of us trying to get whole hog into homesteading?
COVID.
Was the scamdemic. We saw firsthand all kinds of supply lines shatter. And even now, most of it's not really repaired yet.
Yes, in the case of my job, I work for an electrical supply company, and we're still running backlogs on components because we're getting components from China, Malaysia, Indonesia, even South and Central America, because manufacturing plants all over the world have just been kind of shot in the butt, really. So we really just decided we've got to start going at this hard and heavy. Now, we're not preppers.
No.
We are preparing for, possible food shortages, but we're not stockpiling weapons. We're not like trying to get NBC gear, gas masks, all that nonsense. No. We're not that. We're trying to do what we're doing and respect our neighbors, possibly have enough to where we can share with our neighbors, the occasional baked loaf of bread or a pie or some extra fruit or some extra vegetables, whatever, and try and build a small community. And that's what people should actually be trying to do, build small little communities instead of trying to survive in these big cities, because we're showing that we can't do that. Big cities are failing horribly, mainly because they're run by Democrats. But that's an opinion. So
homesteading has gotten a very bad image, especially recently. You have a lot of shows like Doomsday Preppers, where I've only watched a handful of them, 2 or 3, but each person reminds me very much of a paranoid.
A little loco en la cabeza.
But I have learned a few very valuable things. Like you can stick over 600 cans under a bed and put 40 soup packets in a hollowed out door. Who knew?
Anyway, so questions were asked, and we are going to try to provide the best we can the answers.
Without going too far down the rabbit hole yet.
Oh, by the way, you might hear weird noises because we do have neighbors with guns. So, first question, and I do not know if it's Sir Zones or Sir Zons, but I'm going to go with Sir Zones, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. My first question would be, have you ever been legitimately worried, scared about your decision? And if so, how did you calm yourself down? Well, again, for me, it's kind of been just an organic, happening. Started in the backyard, wanted to try and grow some stuff, and then didn't work. And then we got out here and we said, hey, let's try and grow some tomatoes.
And it worked.
And it worked. Worked bigly. And my jalapenos were hot, almost too hot even for me, which was great. And we thought, hey, let's try some more. And when the COVID thing kind of really ramped up, we were like, especially with the eggs. Now that's the one that really burnt my ass and more than a 3-foot fire. Okay, burnt my butt more than a 3-foot fire. Was walking into a Walmart, a superstore, and the case was empty. No, I take that back. There was one package of a dozen eggs, and they were all broken.
Mm-hmm.
People had gone through and taken good egg, replaced with bad egg, and then shoved it back.
The same thing with bread, with just about, I would walk past empty shelves.
And the toilet paper. The toilet paper orders. I hope y'all get explosive diarrhea, you're stuck in traffic, and a chronic case of sneezing that you can't control. All right? Because that's just ridiculous.
Baby wipes.
Mm-hmm.
Flushable wipes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. Paper towels. Anything you could wipe your butt with was gone.
Well, except for the poison ivy leaves. But anyway. We're starting to sound like Diamond and Silk here if we don't be careful. Mm-hmm. So, for me, worried or scared about the decision? No. Now, Charlene was worried, has been worried, is the worrier.
Yes. I see stories every day of the government tightening its grasp, ripping away freedoms little by little. I fear it's only a matter of time before homesteaders become outlawed through some regulation or law or...
Okay, I want to try and keep my language clean here. It bugs me when I see farmers being in a stranglehold where they can't produce, corn, potatoes, tomatoes, radishes, carrots, so that would make their own little community survive and thrive.
And I fear it's all trickling downhill to us. That's my fear.
We used to grow victory gardens. There used to be a show about the victory garden. It used to be a thing where everybody was encouraged by the government, grow your own food in your garden for the country to make America better, because then we can put our resources to better use. Why are we not doing that today? Everybody who's got a small patio could make a vertical garden. Everybody who's got a half acre of land like we've got could grow their own food. Everybody should do it. Everybody should at least try. And that's what we're doing. If we fail, we fail. If we succeed, we succeed. And there's Cyan. You're getting photobombed. We just want to be able to survive.
Thrive.
And thrive. Right now, to be able to provide for ourselves and for our daughters to grow up knowing how to grow food, knowing how to raise animals, knowing how to process animals, knowing how to be self-sufficient and not rely on some government official to come around and say, okay, well, here's your weekly allotment of Soylent. Remember, Soylent Green is people. Anyway.
We better check on the neighbors to see if they're okay.
Exactly.
Next question.
From Dictator Dave out in Delaware.
The barrage of questions.
Dave, you're an awesome man. If you ever make it to Missouri, I promise you, PBRs are on me.
Yes.
Personally, I'd like to know how you guys started. Well, what sacrifices, if any, did you make to get into the lifestyle?
Nothing
not
really.
really anything other than
Monetary.
Blood, sweat, and tears, baby. Blood, sweat, and tears. Time and effort.
We got really, really lucky in the way things happened, that we were able to do what we did, how we did, and when we did.
And because of certain events, Charlene's mom lives with us. She helps with child care.
Absolutely. She's a wonderful support system.
Charlene is a stay-at-home mom. We homeschool our two little girls. Well, we homeschool Harley Quinn, and Sarah Jane is going to learn as she goes along. She's 2 years old. She's starting to speak, and she's going to learn everything Big Sister knows.
She already knows how to catch and hug a chicken, much to War's chagrin.
Yes, our 4 adult chickens are war, death, famine, and pestilence. And the light on the battery on the light died.
We'll be okay.
Okay, we've got enough light, so we'll be okay. Oh.
The little Australorps in here are
Wrath and Envy.
Wrath and Envy.
And they're currently being guarded by our cat, Spike, who is a large, old, 13-year-old Tom, who is just the lovingest old goat you ever seen. He's not a goat, he's a cat. Anyway, let's see. Any regrets on projects? Yes. Trying to grow food in a tire. Horrible mistake. Really regret that because we were stuck with a whole bunch of tires.
And even the stuff that managed to produce tasted horrible. They tasted like tire.
Exactly. So don't use tires, kids. Don't use tires.
And
use wood, use concrete, use dirt.
I do regret not starting whole hog, start off running when we first moved in.
Yes, I regret that. I regret that we didn't get, because if we had, we would have had a good jump on this scamdemic, on this coof. We would have been
a lot better off.
Yeah. The only thing we really had to worry about was toilet paper, and well, with all the trees we had around here, if worst comes to worst, I could have went and got leaves.
Bidet.
Yeah, we got the bidet. And well water, and it's cold. So that'll wake you up. What was your background like before these projects? Well, we were both city kids.
Military brat here.
Granted, I was born and raised in Southwest Missouri. Technically, I live in the Ozarks, but I spent most of my time on a bike, riding around the neighborhood, terrorizing other people's pets. You know,
the closest I ever came was a sunflower garden in Texas and a pet turtle.
Now, my stepdad did teach me about growing roses. Throw fish guts at the bottom before you plant them.
Which is another thing. You need to start fishing.
I know, even though I don't like to eat fish.
I do.
So really, no real background in animal care other than pets.
Cats, dogs.
No real experience growing crops. I was murder on goldfish for quite a few years.
I managed to keep a ferret alive for quite some time.
I do like to tinker. I have some skill with working with wood. As you can see, there's a table underneath here that I built using scrap lumber from pallets and whatnot that I scrounged from my job. We've got 2 benches out on the patio that I built. There's a coffee table I built out of oak slats.
You're a novice blacksmith.
Very novice. I need to put my forge back together and relearn how to make a taper.
Yes, you do.
I have the books. I will learn. I will get it going, and maybe even sell a few items. I can make Maybe I can make a decorative hook and sell it to you, and you can put it on your wall. What kind of time and travel restrictions have you run into with the homesteading projects? Really none, other than having the time to in the day. Most days I come home from work, I've been on the road all day long and I'm wiped, but I try to do something.
And I've got to bounce back and forth between homeschool and homestead.
Mm.
A lot of people think they're the same thing. Not really. It's hard to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic while you're trying to weed a garden.
Especially with a 2-year-old clinging to your hip.
Especially with the beautiful baby barnacle.
Not really a lot of restrictions other than just time.
Not really.
And, when I got a day off from work,
We bust our butts.
Busting a hump around here. I mean, today we were moving wood because we had a tree felled in the backyard, and my little Ryobi just isn't up to snuff for cutting that big trunk up. So I'm just having to piecemeal it. But we've got a log splitter, which we lovingly call the Beast.
Amongst other things.
Because it's a 27-ton splitter and it's heavy and it's it was a chore. And one day maybe we'll tell that tale.
My head still hurts.
Well, you did it anyway.
We'll explain that later.
Finally, what are some cool projects you guys would do if you could and had no restrictions? We really don't have any restrictions other than
monetary
money. If we had the money, I'd love to build at least 2 hoop houses that we could use for round the calendar, all year long growth of food, where we could keep it warm, and we could keep tomatoes in a pot and maybe some other useful items growing. Maybe everything, really. I mean, if we could get enough space, just a round the clock garden running inside there. And plus it'd be a great place for when springtime's getting ready to come around the corner and you need a nice warm place to start your seeds, instead of just sticking them in the ground and praying that they come up. But I mean, something that you can get your seedlings going, and then you already know you've got stuff before you put it in the ground, and you can optimize your growth cycle.
I'd like to start raising meat birds. Yes, we have egg-laying birds, but if we're going to get serious about raising our own meat, then meat birds and rabbits are going to be the way to go, especially for our itty-bitty homestead.
Yeah, we're calling it the itty-bitty homestead, which you probably already noticed, but
which makes sense because it's very small.
Very small.
Most channels you see is 15, 20, 100 acres.
We're right now just using a small section of our backyard on a half acre of land. Now, our front yard, I'm going to also bring into play once I can get all the stinking rotten stumps ripped out. That's a tale for another day. We have solar. We have a solar array on the house, which seems to be producing quite nicely. Our electrical bill has only been $13 for the past
2-3
months, which I've loved that. I've loved being able to see that and go, wow, okay, we don't have a big bill. And we're on the program that any excess power we produce goes out to the grid, and we get credits. We're in Missouri. Missouri doesn't allow you to sell your power back to the electric company, which I would love if they could change that. But you do get credit. And when you need the credit, you can apply the credit to your bill. Until we can get battery backups, though, we are grid tied. So if the grid goes down,
we go down. I would like a small orchard. We can't have a fully fledged orchard. I know there are chimera trees, the multiple apple tree, multiple fruit tree. Get a couple, 3 of those on our property line would be.
Yep. And
be really
our
good.
Neighbors are supporting all of our decisions. We are communicating with our neighbors.
Absolutely.
We have a semi-retired mechanic across the road. Next door to him is a retired
blacksmith.
He did something other than blacksmithing, but I think it was over the road driver. But he also did blacksmithing for the SCA, and he's got a lot of equipment over there. He's raising goats, building his house, a second house on his property.
So we get to hear about the price jumps on building supplies.
We have a semi-retired teacher, a retired nurse. We have
a dentist.
A lot of retirees around us, and thankfully they adore our little girls because our little girls are not offensive.
And our dog is quiet.
And our dog does not bark a lot. She's half Mastiff, half Labrador, and got her size from the Labrador side, so that's a plus because she's not huge, but she's got the head and face of a Mastiff, which means she's got the jowls. What else do we have here? We do draw our experience from a lot of different channels on YouTube. I follow at least 3 blacksmiths where I'm trying to learn how to do that. A couple of homesteading families that we're getting some ideas for how to do our hoop houses and our arch gardening
and raising
our vertical
rabbits.
gardenings. Yes. So yeah, we're learning from other people, and we're sharing our knowledge that we learn. So
we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just
Lord,
trying.
No, why would you want to do that?
We're just trying to figure out what works.
Yeah. Some guy, Nick. What animal did you start with?
Chickens.
Chickens mainly for egg production because I like having eggs.
And it ticks us all off when we go to the store and they're out.
Yeah, I don't like that. It irritates me. We will be getting a second pen for the backyard.
We'll do a tour and
we'll be doing tours of what we've got. We have a 10 by 10 dog pen with a roof on it that we have the 4 adult females.
Hopefully
they're all female. The egg layers are started. We're waiting for the 2 Australorps to get to a big enough size that we can comfortably put them out there, move them in with the others, and have 6 laying hens. We are starting small. The idea is to start small
and see
learn
as
we go, and grow as we can. When income taxes roll around this next year, we're probably going to get another pen, and then next spring we will start with the meat hens and probably get a rooster. Though we may have a rooster now. We were told that they were all female.
Those of you who have followed us is very familiar with our dilemma with war. The question still is there. Is she or isn't he?
Yeah, because all the other females, they have the very small little crest, almost no wattles. Female. Mm-hmm. War has a large... Ow! Sorry, needle claws. War has a large crest, has wattles, but we've had a professional poultry raiser say, no. Your bird's a female. What happened is, in some cases, when you've got a group of females, one becomes the dominant and starts taking on the characteristics of a male chicken.
Apparently, chickens have both ovaries and the other part.
Gonads?
Yes. And when there is an all-female flock, one of them will start boosting testosterone and start showing the characteristics of a rooster with everything but the mating.
Just like in Jurassic Park.
That nature finds a way. Well,
no T-Rexes, please.
Chickens are actually descendants of dinosaurs.
I know.
We decided once the layers have started, we're going to sequester war. And if we start seeing eggs, fantastic. It's a she.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't, well,
We got a rooster.
We've got a rooster for the meat birds. It works.
Mm-hmm. To protect the flock.
Exactly.
Okay, and another question Nick had was, when you started homesteading, were you already in the house with the land you wanted?
Yes.
Or did you move there from a city?
Yes.
So we moved out of the city after
issues.
Let me. I'll tell you. I'll tell you this story because it's short. One day, attack cat. One
Bit my
day.
toe.
One day. That's my job. Stock it off. Anyway, inappropriate humor. One day, I hear Charlene just suddenly start saying colorful metaphors as she goes barreling out the back door. Somebody had thrown a sheet of tar paper over our back fence into our yard, and Sweetie, that's our dog, was trying to chew on it. Well, that will kill a dog. So she was, needless to say, Charlene was not happy. She came in the door and pronounced we were moving.
The next day I got pre-approved. 2 days later, we found this house.
Mm-hmm. Within a week.
And we started moving.
I don't know what that says.
But we better hurry.
Right. Okay.
Sir Spencer.
Yeah. Oh, Sir Spencer asked, what's the minimum acreage you should aim for?
Whatever you have.
No idea. We don't know. We're learning as we go. We're going to try and make do with the amount of land we've got. And if we need to access more property on our land, we will.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, I
think. We should probably wrap up since we're running out of time and the phone's starting to tell us that we're running out of, our file size is too large.
We're running a value for value model, just like everything else you've probably seen. If you've gotten some value out of this, learned something, got amusement from our shenanigans, or whatever, donate. However little, however much you want, whatever value you've gotten from this. We're going to try to make a weekly video. It might not all just be sitting down here chit-chatting with you. More often than not, it's going to be out in the yard, giving you tours, showing you what we're doing, explaining it, our long-term goals, the lessons we've learned, successes and failures. We're not going to hide anything.
And if you...
Except maybe...
if you got something out of it, if you learned something, great. If you were entertained, great. If you want to donate, please do.
Link is going to be down below.
We'll have a link. We have everything set up already.
Mm-hmm.
It's PayPal. We know there's all the nonsense with that. We will adapt as we go along. Things will change. There will always be change, but
absolutely. For now,
we want to make sure people understand. We will be completely transparent on what we do. If money comes in, it's going right back into what we're doing out there or in here.
And if you want to see the books, let us know.
We'll provide anything. We want to be completely straight with everybody because we don't want people to think we're just trying to scam. We're not. That's not our way.
We'll be happy to show you what the money's going towards.
And you'll get to take this journey with us if you decide to, and you'll get to see what we see, learn what we learn.
Laugh when we laugh.
And probably laugh at us a few times. I know, I'm used to it.
So, I'm Charlene. This is Rick from the Itty Bitty Homestead.
And we will be seeing you.